say, without getting into like legal problems, and I don't want to create any issues, but my wife had an issue with her blood sugar that was basically in effect since our daughter had been born 10 years prior to that. And, hi, come on in. Have a seat.
Yes.
And to make a long story short, she saw tremendous benefit from this. So an issue that had been a problem for 10 years became much less of a problem after just 3 months, 12 weeks of Soul, from the time it took us to go through those 10 boxes. And that really then, after looking at the product experiences, after doing the research online, after taking the product, just some amazing benefits. And we realized that this is the cutting edge of something new, which in this industry means everything. There's two kinds of companies in this industry. There's the category creating companies and the companies that are Me Too companies. They just try and take an existing product and make it better. And this idea of seed-based nutrition really appealed to me. And after 3 months of the product, we knew that, you know what, let's go ahead and do this. I called Byron back. I'm now almost 10 months into my assignment. I've got about 3 months left on my year contract. I said, hey Byron, we love the product. Thanks for sending it to us. Does your offer still stand? You still want me to come over and help you guys get up and running in Europe? And he said, absolutely. I said, you'll have to wait about 3 months. I've got to finish up my year. I've got to be, faithful to the paper I signed. And he said, yeah, we'll do it. We'll wait. So I wrapped up my year. My wife and I decided to, and we loved our life in Switzerland. That's the little city of Küsnacht, which was next door to where we lived in Holzhausen. And we loved everything there was to love about life in Switzerland. And throwing in our lot with Rain and with Byron meant moving back to Budapest, which again, we love it in Budapest. That's my favorite city in the world. We lived there many, many years, so it was familiar to us. It was like going home, but it meant leaving this life that we loved. And we absolutely were in, 100%. And so we wrapped up our affairs, we moved back to Budapest, Hungary, and it's now been 4 years. 4 years and a month and a half that I've been with Rain International. That first year was spent kind of transitioning from Rain Nutrition to Rain International. We cleaned up all the old company's issues with vendors and things. We actually improved the product. It was a great product then, but they had a couple things. They used, for instance, an artificial preservative in it that we didn't like. We wanted it to be all natural, so we swapped that out with something that was all natural. So we basically made some improvements to an already great product. And in 4 years now, we've done tremendous things, not just in Europe, but also in North America and Asia. Our company's growing and is very, very successful at the time. So my 4-year anniversary just passed, and we have not looked back. So I left Switzerland for Seoul, and it has been absolutely phenomenal. I love this industry, and I love that Rain International is part of a trend that no one else has gotten in front of yet. Because if you think about this industry, if you think about the companies that are most successful in this industry, it's those companies, the ones that have become billion-dollar companies, that have been able to identify the specific trends and gotten in front of it and taken advantage of it. And we've seen 4 distinctive trends over the 40 years or so in this industry. I was very familiar with a couple of these. You talk about the first one, which was herbal supplements. My family, they founded one of the first companies that dealt with this, so I knew that very, very well. But that's what they did. They identified something that people were getting into, perfected it. They created companies that had, billions of dollars in sales and created innumerable amounts of very successful people, millionaires, and people who didn't become millionaires but radically changed their lives for the better. Later, the next big trend that came along was capsules and tablets and herbs. Got companies like the New Ways and the New Skins and the Herbalives. They came up a few years later. Again, they identified a big trend and got in front of it. Did it well. Had that same success as later. Companies came along that dealt with pressed oils, essential oils. So a lot of people are going back to that now because they've realized what a timeless health benefit that provides. And then the last kind of big trend that came down to the markets was in the late 1990s or early 2000s. A lot of companies got into the superfruit juice industry. Again, I'm familiar with that as well because when my uncles founded with some partners a company called Shinoni or Morinda, I worked for them for 12 years as well. So again, we saw a lot of success. Good products in all of these trends. But the one unique thing that sets them apart is that they all come at some level from a seed. Whether it's a fruit or a plant or an herb or a vegetable, the seed is the source of every single one of those ideas and items and trend lines. So what if we skipped all that and went right to the source of nutrition, which is the seed? And again, it harkens back to that idea that Byron introduced me to, which is seed-based science, seed-based nutrition. So many products, so many companies, they have these crazy stories, you know, about, oh, you found this magical berry on the other side of the Himalayas that, you know, no one else has or no one else has found, and it, you know, cures everything. Crazy stuff sometimes, you know. I cut off my arm and I poured a little juice on it and it grew back. Really? I mean, you think of the story and you kind of get behind that or no? And there's a lot of shady things out there. What I loved about the idea of seeds is that it's timeless, it's clean, it makes sense. You don't have to sell people on that. I've yet to meet someone who says, oh, seeds, nah, those aren't any good. Think about it. Nutrition is at its densest at the seed. 20 times more dense in the seed than in the fruit or the vegetable that comes from that seed. So as a company, that's what we're focused on. We're focused on taking this to the world. And it opens up a wide variety of doors for us because we're not concentrating on one product or one plant. We're focused on seeds. So there's always research going on in our labs, at home, in our factory. We're working on different products. And we're always going to be coming out with new things. We're working on 10 things at the same time. You know, we're always going to select one or two to bring to market every year. And we're the only company that's focused on seeds. So seed-based nutrition, that's us. And so I'll talk briefly about the 3 key ingredients that make up our core product, which is called our Soul. That was our first product. And then we have Core that we just launched last month, first part of last month, middle of the month in September. Who was at our convention in Salzburg? Yes. We launched Core. Been so popular, sold out so quickly, we had some supply issues, which are now finished. We have a couple of containers that have just shown up to our warehouse in the Netherlands. We're making it as fast as we can. So thanks, guys, for making Core so successful. So let's talk briefly about Soul. That's our flagship product. And again, this is designed to be a 1-hour meeting. I'm not going to bore you with the science for the next 5 hours. I know you all have Halloween parties you want to get to. Let's talk briefly about the 3 key ingredients of Soul. Black cumin seed, black raspberry seed, Chardonnay grape seed. Each of them have distinctive properties that do wonderful things for the body. Just real briefly, black cumin is a powerful anti-inflammatory. If you think about inflammation, it's the source of most of the body's ills. It ties back to inflammation at some level. And if you have something that fights inflammation, you fight the problem, you fight pain. I don't like to think of this as a miracle product. I think the body is the miracle. The body's constantly, inflammation is the body's way of trying to deal with a problem. And if we help support inflammation and shrink inflammation, you're helping the body do what it wants to do best, which is heal itself. So you have black cumin, which has been shown to be 200 times more powerful as an anti-inflammatory than aspirin, which is what the vast majority of people take for little aches and pains. We have something that's far more powerful than that in the black cumin. So there's black cumin. Black raspberry seed, tremendous help in the blood, helps fight the uric acids that coagulate around the joints, so it helps with joint issues, helps firm and tighten skin. Wonderful thing. The 2 seeds together work very, very synergistically well together. And then the 3rd seed is the Chardonnay grape seed, which has some resveratrol properties. People talk about the French paradox. The French drink a lot of wine with dinner, and you know somehow they got really healthy diets, and that's from resveratrol, which has been kind of a hot topic over the past decade or so. We've got it in its very powerful purest form. And then a 4th key ingredient is D-ribose, which is a 5-carbon sugar, which typical sugars are 6 carbons. The body has to work to break it down into a 5-carbon sugar so it can use it as energy, and that creates kind of the crashes. A lot of energy and then crash. Think of, you're all going to experience it probably in the next 24 hours. You got kids that are going to go out and load up on candy. Maybe some of you too. Some of you probably don't want to admit it. I think a lot of folks here are going to have some candy tonight. And sweets. But with sugar, you get that kind of that hyper energy and then a crash afterwards. That's not good for you. What D-ribose does is a 5-carbon sugar gives you that energy without the crash. So, and it does tremendous other things. Helps focus the mind. It's great for clarity, mental clarity. So those 4 key ingredients make up Soul. And we've seen just tremendous product experiences. So what you get from Soul are healthier skin and hair. Really helps boost and support the immune system because it's a very high antioxidant product. It was designed, initially, we focused on its anti-inflammatory benefits. But one big side benefit after all of the testing that's been done is that it's one of the highest antioxidant ORAC scored products in the world. And we didn't even focus on that at the outset. So it combats free radicals, gives you the D-ribose, helps give you that greater mental clarity. Again, that anti-inflammation properties helps with inflammation of the brain, other parts of the body, joint support. Awesome product. And the proof is in the pudding. The proof has been in the product experiences, the thousands and thousands of awesome product experiences that people have been having. So let's give you an idea of the kind of the nutrition that you get from a pack of Soul. You get the nutritional equivalent of 8 to 10 servings of fruits, 8 to 10 servings of vegetables, and 2 to 3 servings of the healthy fats. Because because again, we use the entire seed. We press those oils out of the seed. What does your body need? It needs good oils. You need good oils to combat the bad oils that our bodies come in contact with every single day. Just about every product you touch or come in contact with has something to do with the petrochemical industry. You know, whether it's in the bottles we drink water from, even in the medicines we take, the casings, the capsules, those are all oil-based products. Bad oil in, you got to get it out. What gets it out? Good oil. If you ever had like oily hands, can you wash that off with water? You can't. What takes it off? Other good oil-based products. So I like to think of the good oils, those healthy omega-3s and 6s that make the omega-9s that are found within Soul that helps clean the bad oils out of your body. So really tremendous benefits from Soul. So talk just a few words briefly about the independent research that's been done. There's a lab called Brunswick's Laboratories in New Jersey in the United States. It is the top, most respected lab in the world. Thousands of companies send their products to be tested for their ORAC capabilities from Brunswick's labs. And that's what they do. They test products day in, day out, all year long. What the USDA, that's the United States Department that sets nutritional standards, what people should be eating, they've assigned a numerical score for the amount of fruits and vegetables, the nutritional equivalent that a healthy body should have on a daily basis. And you need to have the equivalent fruits and vegetables to give you a score of 7,300. The vast majority of people, at least in the U.S., they don't come close. Except every day they live at McDonald's and they buy pizza Hut. Grab something that's prepackaged off the shelf. And they're not getting anywhere near the nutrition they need. But if they were, they'd be getting at least 7,300 ORAC score a day in nutritional equivalency. And what Brain has in one packet was a score of 8,990. You get more capabilities from one packet of Soul than what's recommended as a daily requirement. And most folks take a couple packs, one in the morning, one at night. You're getting over twice the nutrition that the body needs over the course of the day. And it fights all 5 families of free radicals in the system. And what do free radicals do? They contribute to that oxidative stress on our cell systems, and what breaks down and what makes us unhealthy. We can fight that, you can keep the body healthy, and that's what Soul does. So just a phenomenal product. It's also, we've also done 3 other assay tests to show what the product does in terms of fighting inflammation. We talk about how it's a powerful anti-inflammatory. We talk about how it fights free radicals. And we talk about how it helps, because of the resveratrol product, it helps slow down the aging process. It helps our bodies, again, by fighting the oxidative stress that happens on the cellular level. If you can combat that, you can kind of slow down the aging process. It helps people look younger longer. And we've had tests that have proven each of those 3 key facts. This first test, the antioxidant assay, Brunswick's labs, they came up with a combined score from every product that they've ever tested. They assigned a numerical value of that of 56 was the average. We have almost 3 times the amount of free radical reduction by taking a packet of Soul. And that's ounce for ounce. So almost 3 times as effective as all the combined other products that have been tested to do what we say they do. So fantastic test there. And we also test it for its anti-inflammatory properties. An assay test is where you take a cell, you introduce the problem to it, and then you apply Soul and see what happens on the cellular level. And what we see with this test is an instant 33% reduction in inflammation immediately by taking Soul. So that is independent third-party test. And then the third test was an anti-aging assay. This test is how Soul stimulates a specific gene in the body. It's called the SIRT1 gene. It's a gene that's very active from birth until the very end of puberty, which isn't like 14 or 15 like you'd think. It's actually more your mid-20s is when your body finally reaches where I'm done growing and developing, and now you start the slow aging process. And that SIRT1 gene at that point then turns off. It's no longer needed. And what Soul does, it's about a 62% ability to re-stimulate, kind of turn back on that SIRT1 gene. I like to think of it in these terms. If you think of how cells, they reproduce, they die, they oxidize, that process is what leads us slowly to death. It's called aging. I like to think of it in these terms. If you have a pristine color photo, and the aging process would be taking that photo and making a nice color copy. The cell divides. That first copy is going to look pretty good. We'll take that copy and then make a copy of that copy, and then keep doing that. And the farther you get from the original, the more that picture is going to look kind of degraded. And that's kind of the process of aging. Well, what if we can slow down that process to where you're basically taking fewer copies? That's basically what this does. By stimulating that SIRT1 gene, think about how people will look later. I think of my kids who've been taking Solana for 4+ years. What are they going to look like when they're 50?